What is happening in it? Gamer Dude here, and I am going to be talking about DanMachi Season 4 Episode 0. So just to provide a bit of sort of background on DanMachi, it's pretty much a series based around Ben Krenel. He's the main character. He lives in a town called Labyrinth, which hides a massive tower, and within that tower is a massive dungeon. People go into that dungeon, fight monsters, do quests in order to, make them much more popular. It pretty much means you'll get sort of wealth and fame and a bunch of other cool junk like that. But there's a good reason why people don't do it as often, and that's because it's incredibly dangerous, and many people have actually lost their lives in an attempt to that pursuit. Now, as of right now, there are a total of 5 seasons technically, if you want to count it, which is season 1, 2, 3, 4 part 1, and season 4 part 2, which just recently, season 4 part 2, I think it was at the beginning of this year, 2023, that it aired. So pretty much I watched season 1, season 2, and season 3 when they had it. No, season 1 after it aired, season 2 and season 3 while they aired. So because Crunchyroll didn't actually get the license or the rights to season 4, I never actually ended up watching season 4. So I went through some other sites. Well, I'm actually going to start watching it, but before I do, I was like, crap, okay, 2019 is when season 3 aired, and I need to kind of preface myself by being like, I need a recap or something like that to kind of sort myself out so I can actually continue watching season 4 or start watching season 4. And so what ended up happening was I actually came across this episode 0, which actually does cover sort of the main plot of season 1, the first half of season 2, the second half of season 2, and all of season 3. So rather than judging it as an anime as I normally would, by looking at the plot, looking at the characters, kind of judging that kind of was already done by myself through the ratings that I gave on my anime list. But in this case, we're looking at a recap. So rather than looking at as an anime, I'm going to look at as does it serve itself well enough as a recap? Does it bring us back into the world well enough? Does it remind us of the characters well enough? Does it put us in a good enough position to be able to watch season 4? So starting off with the first thing, we do get reacclimated to the world pretty bloody well. Again, there isn't really much more to understand besides there's a town called Labyrinth, there's a giant dungeon, people go in there to become famous and, meet people and all that other junk. And that's kind of where the actual name comes from, because Belle actually wants to go into the dungeon to meet a girl, to meet a woman, just anyone at all, most likely someone hot, probably. And instead gets his teeth kicked in pretty much immediately. But the thing is that isn't his only character trait, because over time things change, and it gets the show can get surprisingly, the series, it kind of gets darker and darker as time goes on. It just doesn't seem that way initially, and then it kind of goes through okay, so season 1 was kind of an introduction to the characters in the world. Season 2 part 1 is where we get the war games between characters, between gods rather. So the whole idea of so another thing that they acclimate you pretty well with is they immediately explain what a familia is. Oh, familia, yeah, which is a god that gives powers to a normal person, and then that normal person then goes into dungeons, fights, levels up, gets stronger, and then the god becomes a bit more famous. And so that whole idea is a familia, not a familiar, but it's FAMALIA something. I mean, it's in the title, I think, or maybe not. Well, anyway, so yeah, it does a great job of explaining the housing format of gods and humans under a single roof, the world itself, and then we get used to the characters as well, which it does a great job of reminding you, okay, here's Wealth, here's Belle, here's Hestia, here's Hephaestus, which again, Hephaestus, if you think about it, isn't really like that important of a character, but like the fact that she's still introduced anyways to make sure like, oh yeah, she should exist because she's like the god of like another familiar somewhere down the street, that kind of thing. So yeah, it does a great job in kind of summarizing the events of season 1, which was introduction. Season 2, which was so first half was the war game between a couple of gods. The second half was saving Haruhime, and then season 3, which was the whole thing about talking monsters and whether or not they deserve to live because of reasons, and also poachers of monsters that threat like torturing them and a bunch of other junk. And so now we kind of jump off of the end of season 3, which actually hit pretty hard, to be honest. It was pretty good. Just a couple of like sort of like writing nitpicks that I had into season 4. So all in all, I'd say that this episode 0 for season 4 absolutely did an exceptional job, because I jumped into episode 1 of season 4 and I did not feel like I was left behind. It did a great job. The entertainment value isn't quite there because that's not what it serves to do, but as long as you kind of follow it through, you will be fine with season 4. So you don't even need to watch seasons 1, 2 and 3, though I highly recommend it, because then you kind of see not just Belle's sort of character arc as he evolves as time goes on and he gets stronger, but also like who he is as a person, his character, the characters that he meets that join him. Like it's been quite a journey already. So I'm very much looking forward to seeing what season 4 part 1 and what season 4 part 2 are going to bring to the table. So I will definitely be sharing my thoughts about that then. But yeah, all in all, I'm probably going to give this a 7 out of 10, because again, it's just kind of unfair to rank it against other anime. So on my mail, I'm definitely just going to jot it down as a 7. But yeah, let me know what you guys think about DanMachi as a series as a whole. If you've seen season 1, season 2, or season 3, or just any mixture of the seasons. If you dropped it, how come? Would be interested to know for people who have dropped shows, because I don't really drop shows. Even if I like it or hate it, I will still watch it till the end because I've started watching it. But yeah, like the video if you've made it this far. It would be nice to see just how many people actually, have made it to the end. Comment below about, again, your thoughts on DanMachi. What do you thought of, this recap, if you have actually seen it, so this episode 0. And yeah, subscribe, because I would definitely like my channel to, reach out to more people, hopefully in the future. But with all that said and done, I'll see you guys next time.